We have one last thing to look at, and that is functions with a restricted domain. For most functions, we can plug in many values of x, but these problems restrict us to only certain values of x. And what we want to do is find the range associated with just those values of x. Let's start by looking at the functions below, which were graphed for many values of x, and use the restricted domain to determine exactly which part of the graph we're looking at. Number 25 says f of x is equal to x squared plus 1, and we're interested in x between -1 and 3, but not including those. So here is x is -1, and since we're not including -1, I'm going to put a hollow circle there, and then it goes to x is 3, and again, it doesn't include 3, so we'll put a hollow circle there, and then we don't want anything outside of that, so I'm just going to cross this part of the graph out. So the part that we're interested in is this part here. So it looks like range-wise, the lowest y value is about y is equal to 1. And it looks like maybe the top one is somewhere around y is equal to 10. Okay, we'll come back with some technology and look at that and find them exactly, but that at least gives us a ballpark of what we're looking at. 26, f of x is equal to 1 over x. We're interested here from -2 to 4. And again, those are both going to be hollow circles because there's no equal sign on the inequalities. So here is -2, and I'll put that hollow circle. I'll get rid of the rest of this side, and then 4. So there's our hollow circle, and I'll get rid of the rest of this. And so what it looks like is we're interested in this part here, and then this part here. So we have negative infinity. It's kind of our lower level. It looks like there's a gap in the center, and then it goes all the way up to positive infinity. Okay, so we'll probably have 2 intervals there. We'll look at that one with technology as well. And then lastly, 27, the square root of 16 minus x squared. So this gives us half of a circle. And we're interested in, let's see, -3 is less than x, so 1. So here's -3, and that gets a hollow circle here. And I'll scribble out the rest of this that we don't need. And then x is equal to 4. And notice there is an equal sign on there, so we'll actually color this circle in because it does include that point. So the part we're looking at is from here to here, and then also including that point as well. This one looks like maybe it goes from y is 0 to roughly y is about 4. Okay, so that gives us an idea of what we're looking at graph-wise for restricted domain. Let's switch over to Desmos so we can take a look at what this looks like with technology and get an actual answer for these ranges. All right, so here we have the first function graphed, x squared plus 1. And to restrict the domain in Desmos, if you use these curly brackets, and then we'll put our restriction in here. So -1 less than x less than 3. So this is the part of the graph that we're looking at, that we're interested in. So we can see here that the lowest value, we can actually click on this, is 0, 1. So that lowest y value is 1, and we are going to include it, especially since we see it here in the middle of the interval. Where we're most worried is these endpoints. Remember, we have those hollow circles on those endpoints. And so 1 is the smallest number. As they go up, the biggest number for the range is somewhere around 10. And if I click here, it says 3, undefined. So it means we don't get to include that point of 10 in our range. So we go all the way up to 10, like 9.9999999, but not 10. All right, let me show you the difference. If it was, let's see, less than or equal to 3, then when I click up here, it'll actually tell me that that point is 3, 10. Okay, so our range here is going to be from 1 to 10. We'll come back and take a look at how that's written down on the paper. All right, so from 1 over x, and this one is from -2 to 4. Okay, so it looks like this. And when we looked at this one, we saw that this goes all the way down to negative infinity. Right? We have this asymptote here. So it starts at negative infinity is the lowest y value. And it's going to come up here all the way to this point here. So we do need to, it doesn't include that y value, but we do need to figure out what that is. And I can do that by just changing this for a second. And so that tells me that 1/2 or negative 0.5, negative 1/2 is kind of this piece here. So negative infinity to negative 1/2. And then this other one, again, it's not defined at this point. So we'll have to not include it, but we can go right up to that point. So we'll figure that out by putting that equal sign in. So this one is, oops, there we go. So it starts at positive 0.25 or positive 1/4, and then the y values go all the way up to infinity. Right, and then we have one last one. So the square root of 16 minus x squared, and our restricted domain here is negative 3 less than x less than or equal to 4. All right, so our lowest value here is down here. That's our lowest y value, and it does include that 0.0. So 0 is included as our lowest y value in the range. And then our biggest y value is up here, and that is 4. So this one has a range from 0 to 4. And you didn't notice this endpoint is taken care of because it's got a matching one over on this side, but if I hover over this, it says undefined. So just really watch those endpoints and making sure you know where you're including things and where you're not. All right, let's pop back over to the worksheet, make sure we have all the same things. All right, so here's that range. So you could write that as with a less than or equal to on the 1 and just a strictly less than on the 10, or it's got a square bracket if it has the equal to and then that round bracket without it. There are two versions for this one. So this one has two intervals, so negative infinity to negative 1/2 and 1/4 to infinity. And then the last one is this one with this circle, and it included both 0 and 4. So it has square brackets on both of those or equal signs on both of those.